咁我哋中間右手邊係我哋主席張坤先生，中間左手邊係我哋行政總裁譚利文先生，最右手邊係我哋嘅營運總裁李卓豪先生，最左手邊係我哋嘅風險合規及人才管理總監陳婉婷女士。好，我哋而家上台影第二張合照下 ，please head to the stage for second group photo. For second group photo first, yeah. To your left. Okay, 係嘛? So the cameras at the back. Please take a look at the cameras at the back. Okay. Okay, please be seated. 好，歡迎大家。咁而家我哋先將時間交俾我哋嘅主席張坤先生咧，佢會做一個簡報，然後咧就會到我哋行政總裁譚利文先生嘅。
Hello。
係，有請張生。
大家好，咁首先感謝今日各位傳媒嘅朋友嚟出席我哋嘅新聞發佈會。咁今日係香港公共交通史上一個重要嘅歷史性嘅時刻，亦都係開創咗香港公共交通業嘅新一頁。相信大家都知道咧，我哋今日咧就啱啱已經係獲得行政長官同埋行政會議嘅批准，就係喺2023年7月1號開始咧，就係將城巴專營權1同埋新巴嘅專營權咧，就並入全新嘅城巴市區及新界專營權，有效期咧係10年。同一時間咧，主要服務機場同埋北大嶼山路線嘅城巴專營權2咧，亦都係經行政會議嘅批准之後咧，係獲得續牌。咁同樣都係個有效期係10年嘅。咁我哋首先感謝咧，就係政府一直與我哋咧就係緊密嘅合作，令到本公司咧早前提交俾政府嘅上述2項建議咧，能夠順利咁樣獲批。合併咧就有助我哋實現發展策略中嘅願景，同時為乘客同埋員工咧帶嚟便利同埋保障。城巴同新巴咧，今後就終於真正成為一個大家庭，可以集中精力咧將城巴發展成為全球頂級嘅公共巴士服務承辦商。我哋會繼續咧以服務香港43年嘅標誌性品牌咧城巴，繼續為香港市民效力。咁其實喺城巴啱啱建立嘅時候咧，就已經改變咗巴士業務嘅一個生態嘅。其實透過引入創新嘅概念咧，例如當年咧係率先引進空調巴士等革命性嘅設備咧，其實係顛覆咗當時嘅巴士行業，亦都令到當年嘅好多專營巴士公司咧係改善服務嘅水平。而到今日咧，其實空調巴士已經成為我哋車隊嘅一個基本嘅配備。透過結合我哋嘅營運團隊去到城巴嘅品牌下邊咧，城巴將繼續成為香港公共交通業嘅先行者同埋領導者。我哋咧亦都會致力推動環保同埋減排，並率先承諾咧喺2045年之前咧實現全面使用零排放嘅車隊。咁早前我哋其實已經係率先咧引進咗全香港第一部嘅電動嘅雙層巴士。亦都啱啱喺6月份咧就引進咗全球首輛嘅3軸雙層氫能巴士嘅。呢樣嘢係證明咗城巴喺零排放轉型上邊咧係領先公共交通業界嘅承辦商。 另外，我哋舊年呢，亦都係成為香港首家全線接受感應式信用卡同埋流動支付嘅公共交通承辦商。未來我哋將會喺專營期內啦，透過培訓員工同埋持續投資公共設備等啦，致力提升乘客嘅體驗，以鼓勵更多市民呢係轉乘公共交通工具，令公共交通業咧能夠復甦，同時更有效咁樣去服務香港嘅市民。我哋亦都會通過整合現有嘅路線同埋開辦新嘅路線啦，包括服務新嘅發展區嘅路線啦，以改進同埋活化現有嘅網絡。例如，我哋正積極開拓喺屯門啦、北區啦同埋將軍澳等主要新發展區嘅業務，並計劃入標競投觀塘安達臣道新發展區嘅新路線。建基於我哋現時龐大嘅巴士網絡，我哋將進一步發展成更強大嘅路線網絡，為顧客提供一個覆蓋全港嘅完善巴士網絡選項，令所有嘅市民呢都能夠受惠。咁啊，再次多謝大家。咁而家我會 pass 俾我哋行政總裁 Adam Lichman 啦，咁佢會再詳細講解今次合併同埋續牌嘅一啲 details 嘅。Adam, please.
Thank you, Cliff. I'm going to speak in English for obvious reasons. Historically, Citybus and New World First Bus were separate franchises operating independently, even after coming together under common ownership in 2003. Since taking over the operations 2 years ago, Bravo has created a one business, one team management style, establishing the foundations for a more efficient operation and ready to enable a smooth transition into one new operating company under the Citybus banner. By merging Citybus and New World, all our colleagues, including many bus captains and mechanics, along with buses and facilities, can be utilised proactively and with maximum efficiency, creating synergies to deliver improved services to all our customers. Customers will benefit as we can deploy our fleet and colleagues more flexibly and effectively, providing us with economies of scale that can directly compete with some major players in the industry. It will enable us to remove customer confusion about our product as we operate under one single brand of Citybus. This will enable us to improve wayfinding and creating more joined up and enhanced journey solutions. The merger will create multiple synergies along with significant employment and customer benefits, far outweighing any associated costs brought about by the merger. During the next 10-year franchise term, we will invest over 3.5 billion Hong Kong dollars into the business. These investments include customer and colleague facilities, the upgrading of existing and creation of new depots, along with the ongoing purchase of buses and supporting infrastructure for our ongoing business prosperity and zero-emission transformation journey, which is a big part of what we are trying to achieve. We will build the ancillary facilities at the new bus-to-bus interchange station in collaboration with the Transport Department at the Aberdeen station, allowing us to reinvigorate travel options from the Southern District for seamless interchanges between services, opening up a wider choice of travel options, particularly for those at the south of the island. We'll also improve facilities at a number of bus terminals and implement additional bus shelters at locations across Hong Kong Island, Kowloon and the New Territories, introducing more digital route displays and expanded customer information, providing greater accessibility and the ability to ensure comprehensive journey planning for all users. A brand new customer website and mobile phone application is already in development and will target to launch during 2023, offering interactive journey planning and a host of other tools to ensure both a sleek and immersive user experience for our customers. And I know personally that's a very important thing for our customers. We're looking to build new garages and open additional depots that can support our expansion in the new development areas such as the Northern Metropolis, becoming an integral part of the communities we serve and where our colleagues reside in. We will further invest in safety measures, increasing the fitment of ADAS and implement a real-time bus captain monitoring system across all of our operations to improve safety and enhance colleagues' knowledge whilst identifying their training needs and ongoing development. I've personally done this in London and Singapore to great effect, and I expect to see tremendous improvement from our captains as we roll this out. As part of the Mission Zero journey, we pledge to operate a fully zero-emission fleet by the year 2045. To achieve this, we'll be continuing our research and collaboration with the government, and we will be purchasing zero-emission buses and building the relevant supporting infrastructure. You would have already seen the electric double-deck bus that is in operation now in Hong Kong, and we are actively pursuing hydrogen fuel cell options so that we can gather information and work out what works best in Hong Kong. The current City Bus and New World First bus network is a legacy of the organic growth of the public franchise bus network that has grown under the historic expansion of Hong Kong. It is also the legacy of two previously competing businesses and the intensive competition for customers in the early days of franchise bus operation and during the time of a less developed railway network across Hong Kong Island. By operating under one single operating brand, combining the legacy franchises, we will have the opportunity to further improve and enhance the network design by simplifying the network, by consolidating duplicated routes, increasing headways, and ensuring balanced distribution on core corridors and speeding up journey times, delivering joined-up and holistic route planning, maintaining marginal low-frequency routes under the social needs banner that will feed into our wider network through new and increased interchange hubs. Our network will be even more accessible to our customers and able to directly address their needs and the changing travel patterns after the merger. We wanted to encourage increased bus-to-bus interchange by the optimisation of our network, service schedules and improved interchange facilities. We will, in alignment with our new and innovative mobile phone application, introduce a customer loyalty program highlighting up-to-date information, offers and savings through partnerships we have with other retailers and being the first to know about special travel offers, competitions and other information. As separate franchises, City Bus and New World First Bus have adopted different fare tables, leading to some significant fare disparities, even when comparing with similar operating corridors on routes. Over time, we will be working to simplify and rebase our overall fare structure, which will create greater understanding and provide a simplified and more beneficial offering to the general public, along with visitors to Hong Kong. This will drive up customer usage through delivering easy-to-understand options and greater value. Upon the merger, all our colleagues will be working for the same company as one family. The levels of pay and benefits for our current City Bus and New World First Bus colleagues will remain unchanged upon the merger. There will be no redundancy or worse-off employment terms for frontline bus captains as a result of the merger. We have committed and will improve a number of key areas for our frontline colleagues, such as resting facilities and uniforms. From now on, we are one family, one City Bus. The transition will take place in a number of phases over a period of time. Gradually, you will see more and more of our iconic yellow buses on the roads across Hong Kong, and the City Bus brand will become established across our complete operations as the New World First Bus identity is phased out. As mentioned by Cliff, we will now focus on making City Bus a top-class, if not world-leading, public transport operator and the leading bus company in Hong Kong. We're very, very excited by the announcement today and the future for City Bus. Thank you.
好，唔該晒 Adam。咁我哋跟住落嚟咧就會係答問環節。咁呢個時候咧，我哋會係由我哋嘅營運總裁李卓豪先生咧主要去回答嘅。咁然之後我就會協助翻譯啦。咁希望如果各位有興趣問問題嘅話，可以先舉手啦，亦都簡介下自己啦。係。第三排後邊藍色衫。
係你好經濟嘅。咁 就3條問題想問嘅。第一就係其實今次個合併某程度上都對你哋個財政嘅長遠嚟講有啲幫助啦。可唔可以講下，即係其實喺合併咗之後，你哋嘅財政係會得到幾大嘅改善？咁改善咗之後，係咪有信心可以做翻自負盈虧，定係都係需要多一啲來自政府嘅幫助呢？咁第二就係喺嗰個合併之後，一啲重疊嘅路線就會重組啦。咁舉個例，18號同埋10號嘅路線分別屬於新巴、城巴啦，佢哋都係西區去北角咁樣，但係佢哋嘅收費係唔同嘅。如果呢一啲路線重組咗之後，究竟18號同10號會留邊條？究竟係市民由西區去北角係要收6個2定係4個2咁樣呢？咁啊，最後就係頭先都見到 PowerPoint 有一個常客獎勵計劃，其實可唔可以詳細少少講下，究竟呢一個計劃係點樣可以即係有啲優惠市民咁樣呢？
Just to answer your first question, the merger absolutely will support and help our future financial situation, but it's one of many key components that we're exploring with the government, both through the COVID period that we're now emerging from. We still haven't rebased and recovered our ridership to the pre-pandemic measures, and the very important thing now, as Hong Kong reopens, we support that reopening with the reapplication of our services. We get passenger growth, and we deliver a more vibrant and resilient business in the future.
咁當然啦，呢個合併咧係會對我哋嘅財務係有好大嘅幫助。咁但係只係其中一個部分啦。咁嚟緊其中一個好重要嘅項目咧，就係希望盡快通關之後咧，咁對於我哋嘅財務狀況，特別係我哋喺口岸同埋機場路線嘅收入咧，會有好大嘅幫助啦。
Yeah, in terms of your second question, in terms of route consolidation, we've been actually working with the government for a long period of time now, and even pre the acquisition of the business, to rebase the route network across Hong Kong Island specifically. And we can look at that in a very simple way, that actually as Hong Kong grew organically during the 1980s, the 1990s and early 2000s, the bus network expanded along with that growth in the housing and the office development. Since the late 1990s into the early 2000s, the railway network obviously came online, and that has changed the dynamic of bus operation across Hong Kong. And what we're now doing is making a fit-for-purpose future bus network. So, you know, any decisions about specific routes will be considered in the future, and they will be through the normal consultation process and the annual route planning program process that is well established in ordinance across Hong Kong, and we participate in every year.
咁我哋係一直都會同政府商討咧，就住我哋有關有相應嘅路線咧，如何去重組咧，令到嗰個效率可以得以提高啦。咁而其實我哋嘅巴士路線網絡咧，過去一段時間咧，係隨住香港嘅經濟咧一路咁成長。咁而喺呢個成長嘅過程入邊咧，其實喺同一時間咧，鐵路咧係不斷咁發展嘅。咁因應呢一個情況咧，其實我哋需要咧重新審視成個香港嘅巴士網絡咧，令到我哋整個網絡咧其實係得以係配合到香港市民現時嗰個交通出行嘅需要咯。咁我哋會同政府繼續喺呢方面繼續商討嘅。
And your final question in terms of customer loyalty program, that's absolutely a focus for the future. We know we can retain not only existing customers, but grow a new customer base by developing a customer loyalty scheme. That doesn't replace, additional network and fare offers that we would develop in the future. But what it does is, give people additional added benefits and value to the offering. And it's about attracting customers, converting them from private car use into public transport modes. And, as part of that, that allows us to green Hong Kong. It allows us to meet the government's decarbonation targets for 2050, and it helps us achieve our Mission Zero statement for 2045.
咁其實成個客戶忠誠嘅計劃咧，最緊要就係能夠吸引到我哋嘅顧客咧，係繼續使用我哋服務啦。咁從而係令到咧更加多嘅市民咧願意去乘搭公共交通工具咧，從而令到香港咧係可以有一個更加環保、更加綠色嘅交通運輸系統。前排右手邊。
咁多位你好 ，Now 新聞台，睇下會唔會可以廣東話回應即係以下嘅問題啦。第一個就係、即係其實睇翻新巴城巴過去半年嗰個虧損都好嚴重啦。運輸署即係而家合併之後要重組路線，其實亦都要運輸署審批，未必短期內可以成到事，甚至乎其實都可能得好少路線可以重組到。短期內呢個合併對於新巴城巴改善到嗰個經營狀況嗰個幫助有幾大呢？第二就係想問翻，就係公司都承諾2年就唔會裁減前線巴士車長嘅職位啦。都關注一啲後勤嘅一啲職員，譬如一啲係重疊嘅，譬如可能會計啊、文書嗰啲嘅後勤職員，呢都公司會唔會可以都承諾唔裁減佢哋，會點樣處理？唔該。
我想先Richard 講完，我就再講一次啦。
So in terms of half-year losses, absolutely, we're still in a loss-making position as we emerge from COVID. And that's about the business, the Bravo Transport business, working in collaboration and partnership with the government as we emerge from that situation. That close collaboration has been absolutely demonstrated during the fifth wave. That was the severest yet impact on public transport operations in Hong Kong. And actually, it's given us an opportunity. It's given the whole country an opportunity to look at how people travel. We're seeing shifts in travel patterns where offices are not now open maybe 5 days a week. People are travelling and working more flexibly. We've seen changes in the school pattern with school holidays being shifted already this year. So all these things actually create opportunity. They allow us to look at the network, to monitor demand, to monitor need, and critically look at new opportunities. And what we're seeing is new opportunities coming out of this. And in this year's current route planning programme, there will be some new route developments, and again next year to offer a better offering to our customers.
係啦，咁其實城巴同新巴咧過去一段時間都有一定嘅虧損啦。咁其實咧呢一段時間咧，我哋都好有多謝咧政府可以同我哋緊密合作啦，令到我哋喺相關嘅服務上作出一啲調整啦，令到我哋得以可以繼續維持我哋嘅服務啦。咁嚟緊其實我哋都會同政府繼續緊密合作啦，就住一啲新嘅路線安排上，譬如整合同埋一啲新開拓一啲新嘅路線咧，繼續緊密合作啦。然之後咧，其實同一時間咧喺第5波疫情，其實對於嗰個整個出行嗰個習慣改變咧係好大嘅。咁呢啲亦都開拓咗啲新嘅機會，令到我哋可以就住呢一啲新嘅習慣去發展我哋嘅巴士網絡，令到我哋可以找緊呢啲機會咧，繼續去擴展我哋嘅業務，然之後咧就得以咧繼續可以發展落去啦。
And in terms of your second question around staff, staff are the most important asset we have in our business. Actually, when we look at franchise bus operations across Hong Kong, there's been a shortage of bus captains for many, many years, even going back to 2008, 2009, when the financial crisis hit the global economy. So actually, our challenge is about recruiting enough bus captains, and that's a challenge every single franchise bus operator faces today in a climate where there's actually relatively low unemployment. So in terms of redundancies, there are no redundancies. Today, we have a shortage of 359 bus captains. We manage that situation well because many of our colleagues like to work overtime and do additional duties, and we also have a large pool of part-time bus captains. As we resume our operations, our city flyer operations will recommence as the airport reopens and Hong Kong reopens, not just for international travel, but also cross-boundary travel from the mainland. That presents huge opportunity. So, we will be resuming service with over 140 buses that are currently parked up and idle since the start of the pandemic, and that will generate the need for another 320 bus captains. You match that against a turnover rate on an annual basis of around 7%, means you need to recruit 200 just to deal with your turnover. So, a very secure position for our frontline staff. They are our most important asset, and we will continue to value them as such and work with our frontline trade unions and JCC accordingly. In terms of the back office staff, absolutely. We've got a clear path now as we emerge from COVID. After the acquisition of the business, we carried out a significant review and restructure of the business. And last year, we made a number of colleagues, very sadly, redundant in a restructuring of the organisation. That was about bringing together our back office functions and aligning our business as being fit for the future. That's a task that has been carried out, and we're now pleased, even in the COVID times, that we're starting to rebuild. We've just recently launched our new apprenticeship scheme, and we're looking to recruit over 30 apprentices this year. We will be announcing next week about the reigniting of our IGT and EGT graduate scheme, where we will take 10 graduates into our business. So a really, really bright future. And actually, we're looking to recruit more talented and more skilled people into our business to deal with a 10-year term and to take this business forward.
咁我簡單講下巴士車長嗰度啦。咁其實我哋公司其實而家咧就面臨嘅一個巴士車長嘅短缺嘅，咁所以當然咧我哋係都冇計劃去裁減任何前線車長嘅職位啦。咁至於後勤同事方面咧，其實我哋過去2年前我哋公司咧收購咗城巴新巴之後咧，已經就住呢個後勤嘅架構咧，按照一個團隊一間城巴嘅方式咧去重整咗㗎啦。咁喺呢個過程中咧，係有啲同事係有需要係被離開公司啦。咁但係其實呢個過程已經完結咗，我哋亦都暫時冇咁嘅計劃去再去進行呢件事啦。咁同一時候，其實我哋亦都開始咧係招募更加多嘅後勤同事嘅，包括我哋將會係招聘呢個技工啦。另外亦都會招聘呢啲畢業生咧係加入我哋公司咧，希望喺我哋成為一間城巴嘅大家庭之下咧，能夠喺城巴嘅品牌之下繼續發展佢哋嘅事業啦，亦都發展我哋公司嘅業務。
Hi, hello, good afternoon. A few questions from the South China Morning Post. So with the first question, with the merger between Citybus and New World First Bus, you're taking two independent franchises and then making them into essentially one entity. How would this new merger or this new merged entity, handle the competition? Because, this is originally two separate franchises, but now you're running this under one merged entity. And the second question I also like to ask about, you mentioned the COVID reopening in Hong Kong. That doesn't seem to be something that's happening on the near horizon. How would the new merged company handle this sort of uncertainty going forwards? The third question is to ask about the comments made by Union Chief Lam Ka-piu this morning about how management ignored some of the voices of the union, scrapped subsidies, wondering what the company has and any response. They also said management also demanded buses depart from the station only when they were full. Is that true? And also the union chief also mentioned that Bravo, the shareholder, is an investment fund with no long-term intention or experience in running a franchise bus company. What's the response from the company? Thank you.
Okay, thanks for your questions. In terms of the entity, actually, a really interesting question. So the New World and the Citybus business has actually been operating together for almost 20 years now, since they came under common ownership under the NWS Group. So it's nothing new, what we're dealing with here today. What we're dealing with is, an exercise where we actually officially bring those businesses together. As we talked about, the back office functions, the finance functions, the office and engineering teams, they've been consolidated for many, many years in terms of doing that practice. And this allows us to deliver, as Adam and Cliff talked about today, one family, one Citybus, one brand. And that's a very, very powerful tool when we deal with our colleagues internally, and a very, very powerful tool when we deal with our customers, whether they're direct customers in terms of retail customers, but also when we're dealing with stakeholders. It removes confusion, it brings clarity, and allows us to deliver that in one message. In terms of the COVID reopening, I think we all have to sit here and be positive about that. The world is opening up to COVID. Every country responds differently. Every country takes that at a different pace. But the world will reopen. Hong Kong will reopen. And that's something that we will deal with as and when it happens. And that presents us opportunity. It presents Hong Kong an economic opportunity in terms of the reopening, the revitalisation of the tourism market. And there's two sectors that affect that, obviously, from the mainland, but also international tourism and business tourism. And all those are key opportunities as we move into the future that will support the ongoing growth and development of our business. In terms of the matter of the union, we communicate regularly with our union stakeholders, both at General Workers Union level and at local level. We have a number of unions within our business and a joint consultative committee made up of employee members. Our operations director and his team have met with them today to inform them of this news, as we informed our management teams earlier today. And we maintain close and ongoing dialect and collaboration with them at all times. In terms of matching empty buses, as you said, or not letting buses depart, that's actually not a strategy that's ever been followed. We, as we said earlier, our patronage, our service levels is a demand-led basis, and we've increased significantly this year from the cuts we made during the fifth wave and suspension of services to rebuild and rebolster services. And we're now operating at an optimum level that's improving our business performance, and we're going forward into the future in a good way. On the matter of the shareholding, I'll just revert to Cliff to just briefly answer that question.
Sure. So, I think obviously Temple Water is a private equity firm. And I think first of all, if you look at globally, many of the, public transportation business, whether it's in Europe, in the US, on, rest of the world, many of them are actually owned by private equity firms. And, I think private equity firms, prove to be, good owners. I think we are obviously very, result-driven. I think we want to make the business more efficient, and which, if you look at what we have done since we become owners, we have implemented a lot of measures together with the management to make the business more efficient, more fit for growth. Right, we're making the franchise merger happening today. We have also, pushed very hard into the zero emission agenda. So, I think, we, being proud private equity owners, we are certainly committed to the future of Bravo Transport as well. And, a lot of the things that we do, again, for the zero emission agenda, that certainly, to be frank, is not something that yields immediate, economic benefits to the business. It is a long-term commitment, a long-term investment into the business, but this is something that is, beneficial to the business in the longer term and to the City of Hong Kong, in the longer term. And we are certainly, as the owner, very committed, to work with the government and to work with the relevant parties, to make the zero emission objective, being fully realized. So hopefully that, addresses your question.
我諗可以俾其他記者問問題啦，因為都比較長嚇，麻煩大家就盡量 keep 住喺2條問題啦，因為都比較多朋友想問問題。有冇下一位？呢度第3排我嘅右手邊。
你好友善嘅，都想問翻呢，就係合併之後個車費話維持不變啦。其實會唔會都向市民承諾翻，就話喺未來一段時間，可能係1至2年咁樣個車費咧都係唔會加嘅咧？另外就係有新巴工會就話咧，其實主要都係不滿城巴同埋嗰個新巴個輪間制度唔同。咁啊，新巴本身個制度工時比較穩定啲，咁啊車長就唔係好中意城巴嗰個制度嘅。即係合併之後咧，會點樣安排咧？同埋即係工會亦都有話就話新巴咧就希望即係新巴會直接遣散所有嘅員工，即係想留低先再同公司簽新約啦。其實會點樣處理合約嗰個問題咧？唔該。
So in terms of your first question, in terms of fare changes, as clearly been stated by the government, and we've stated already today, there's no fare changes on day one of this franchise being enacted. We're very, very clear on that. However, the matter of fares is a separate matter for debate over this franchise announcement today. We see the market changing. You've already seen this year in Hong Kong tramways, the taxis applying for fare increases. The cost of living increases, the cost of diesel increases. And we've talked a lot about our staff today, and our staff, as we say, are one of our most important assets. And our trade unions, our staff, our JCC have supported the business through a very, very difficult time through a COVID period that we're still emerging from. And they've enabled us, with a strong shareholding base to survive that period and emerge from it with this very good news today of this franchise merger. However, we want to reward our staff in the future. The price of diesel goes up in the future. So those are matters that we need to discuss separately and will be taken, as a separate discussion and dialogue with the government around the future arrangements.
咁喺其實專營權同埋呢個收費上其實係兩個唔同嘅事宜啦。咁今日我哋就主要係談論呢個專營權嘅方面啦，亦都係一個好好嘅消息啦。我哋終於能夠成功合併，咁令到我哋新巴同城巴嘅同事可以喺同一個家庭入邊工作啦。咁但係咧，其實當年現時香港嗰個香港現時嗰個生活成本係不斷上升。同時咧，其實油價都有一定程度嘅上升啦。咁喺迎接呢啲挑戰啦，同埋喺如何去應對，令到我哋嘅同事可以能夠有一個更好嘅工作環境同埋更好嘅待遇咧，呢個係我哋另外需要考慮嘅一啲問題嚟嘅。咁呢個我哋會繼續再同政府喺呢方面會繼續有啲商討啦。咁但係喺現階段，我哋喺專營權合併之後係唔會有任何收費上嘅調整嘅。
In terms of your second question, it's actually a very small operational arrangement, and maybe quite an emotive one, because maybe, I don't like a shirt somebody gives me for a present, But, in terms of our bus captains, it's our vision, in terms of Adam, when he talked about the rebranding of our business, into a city bus business, that we want to provide our bus captains with a uniform that is modern, it is relevant, and it is fit for purpose. So our operational team has already actually for some months been engaged with a number of suppliers across Hong Kong, working with them to scope out the types of uniforms and the types of materials that are available. We've already started engaging with our JCC and our union members around, how that uniform not only looks but how it feels. And there's a very early stage before you even get to design about making sure that garments that bus captains wear every day, in a bus cab are flexible, they're adaptable and comfortable. Our head of operations, our general manager of operations, is leading that project, and that will be a project that evolves over the next 12 to 18 months, and we deliver a uniform that is fit for purpose. Suits our brand and presents the right image to the public. Unfortunately, everybody always has personal choices, and you can never satisfy every single individual.
If I could just add to that, it's super important for us to create a world-leading brand. We want the people of Hong Kong and we want the people that work for us to be super proud of Citybus. We want it to be a company that people aspire to work for, and a company that people enjoy to use and catch and helps them in everyday life. So we want them to kind of own this process, and the uniform is critical to that appearance, the look, the identification of the brand, and we'll be getting feedback from our colleagues. Like Richard says, we may even look to get feedback from the community, so that when people see it, they own it. It's theirs. This is Hong Kong. This is Citybus. It's Hong Kong Citybus.
係啦，咁其實喺嗰個工作安排上邊咧，其實新巴城巴一路咧都有不同嘅安排啦。 咁其實陸續咧，我哋會將唔同嘅營運安排整合咧，喺同一個方式去處理嘅。咁當然啦，其實唔同嘅人咧都會對於唔同嘅安排係有自己嘅喜好或者厭惡嘅或者唔同嘅意見啦。咁但係最重要嘅係我哋如何能夠令到兩間公司喺合併之後咧，無論係喺制服上邊，頭先我哋講到啦，喺制服上面都可以凸顯到其實係同一間公司喺同一個品牌之下營運，咁呢個先係最重要。咁但係個人喜好，我哋亦都會按照，亦都會繼續持續同工會或者相關嘅同事去繼續溝通啦。無論喺制服設計上或者營運安排上，點樣能夠令到城巴係一個統整嘅機構去營運咯，係啦。
Hello， 咁多位你好 TVB 嘅。首先咧就想問翻合併之後呢一個路線重組嘅方案啦，有冇話即係優先會係即係處理邊一個嘅區域去做一個計劃啦，同埋就係預計即係兩間公司合併之後，其實有幾多條路線係即係嗰個重疊係比較多，要即係要做有幾多條啦。另外就係想問翻即係收費嗰方面啦，即係都見到暫時就話唔會調整住啦。咁但係即係究竟即係1至2年後到時嗰個收費係會選擇係用翻新巴嗰個收費表啊，定係城巴而家現有嗰個去做咧？同埋即係到時隔咗2年後啦，即係可能嗰個生活個水平又上升啲嘅情況下，咁到時再申請嗰個票價調整會唔會變咗個基數更加大咁樣咧？唔該。
In terms of your first questions about route consolidation or rationalisation, we've already said today, this is part of a long-term, a strategic and holistic plan. Under this year's RPP programme, as I said earlier, we've already commenced a process looking at the Southern District, an area where the railway went into a number of years ago and changed the structure of the public bus operations there. So, in the future, when we talk about consolidation also includes the word expansion. It's not all about retraction. And, the future route development of Hong Kong Island and the restructuring of those routes is absolutely key to getting more ridership and more people on public transport.
係啦，咁其實我哋今年喺路線重組入邊咧都做咗一定嘅功夫啦，例如喺南區有啲路線重整啦。但係我哋想講嘅咧係路線重整咧，唔係話單純係講緊話有啲個別路線需要調節啦。最更重要嘅咧係咧如何開辦啲新嘅路線去服務一啲新發展區啦，或者迎接一啲新嘅需求嘅。咁呢方面咧，我哋會繼續去努力工作啦，去令到我哋嗰個巴士路線網絡咧係能夠繼續慢慢去擴大啦，亦都可以符合到更加多市民出行嘅需求嘅。
And answering the second part of your question in terms of fares, again, we come back to this subject. That's a separate exercise that will be taken care of outside of the franchise award. We're continually looking at fares, as is the government, as is all public transport operators, because actually it's our mission to offer the best value fares that are fit for purpose and ensure that we have a sustainable business and a sustainable model that takes us forward. So that's an ongoing process in any public transport system in any country around the world.
咁喺收費上邊咧，其實我哋就繼續會同政府緊密去聯繫啦。咁其實最重要嘅係有一個收費機制，能夠令到一間公共交通工具營辦商可以持續有效地運作嘅。咁而呢一方面咧，我哋會繼續同政府去合作啦，係啦。咁我都講少少關於嗰個收費分別方面啦。咁其實我哋頭先有提過啦，其實會嗰個收費表咧係會有一定嘅調節嘅。咁亦都會係用一個呢個會稍後會再有一啲更加多嘅嘢啦。但係喺收費表上面咧係會整合，然之後係一個統一嘅收費表嘅。後排白色衫咯。
料商台嘅，以後有2方面問題，唔知主席可唔可以用廣東話答一答咧？第一就係關於個財政狀況嗰度咧，預計合併咗專營權之後，即係公司大概要幾耐時間可以做到轉虧為盈咧？咁另外第2方面咧就係即係同政府商討，其實而家嗰個初步構思有冇話重整路線方案有幾多成嘅即係現有嘅巴士路線係要合併啊，或者受影響要調整咁樣咧？預計成個重整嘅計劃要用幾耐時間去完成咧？唔該。
我諗我哋主席係暫時唔會回答呢個問題啦。咁我有請阿 Richard 講一講先。
It's a good question about when we could become profitable. So there's so many factors that drive this, and we've talked already about the post-COVID recovery curve that we're sitting in now. We've talked about the actions we've taken in the fifth wave, and we've talked about the actions and the commitments we've taken in the future to improve the bus services, to increase ridership in the future. So increasing ridership is the key growth generator in any public transport business. We start to see passenger growth, we start to see increases in revenue, and we start to see increases in profit. As we already said, we've had a hugely supportive workforce during these very, very difficult times. We've had a hugely supportive shareholder base during these difficult times that continues to support the business as we reach our targets to returning to profit, to allow for future investment and future development of our business. But I think the important thing to note is what Cliff talked about when we talk about zero emissions. That even in these difficult times, these times of low revenue, loss-making businesses, our shareholder base has continued to support and invest in the development and research of new and future technology. That's not just around zero emissions, that's in many things around the business, about how we're enhancing safety, we're rolling out ADAS systems across our fleet, how we're bringing in our driver app. So all this has been going on in the background during this period, and it will continue going on into the future. So that gives us a really, really bright future.
係啦，咁喺嗰個轉虧為盈方面咧，頭先講到就係、其實最重要就係能夠令到更加多嘅乘客咧選搭公共交通工具啦。咁呢一方面咧，其實需要透過喺疫情過後，乘客開始翻出嚟啦。另一方面咧就係通關啦。咁呢啲方面令到乘客量增長咧，咁我哋先至可以得以咧係轉虧為盈嘅。咁喺同一時間咧，我哋都要好感謝咧，其實過去喺疫情呢段時候咧，我哋有一個好強而有力嘅股東啦，同埋好強而有力嘅同事們咧，去支持我哋能夠繼續營運落去啦。咁喺嚟緊嘅日子咧，其實都要好有賴咧股東嘅投資，令到我哋可以做到零排放轉型啦。而呢一樣嘢咧，其實係一個好重要嘅事，因為我哋其實嚟緊將會喺2045年全面使用零排放巴士咧。咁呢一方面咧，都係好有賴股東嘅幫忙嘅。
And just to answer quickly your second question, it's a question that's asked actually again earlier. It's not about consolidation, it's about evolution of our routes. Yeah. So, as any business has to evolve to survive. And we look at retail models, we look at all transport models. Every business has to evolve to become relevant to the consumer, relevant to the market. And we will continue to work in close partnership with all the government departments, all the government agencies, and the local councils to make sure that we develop a route network that is fit for the future, that is sustainable, and ensures the growth for our business.
係啦，咁我哋都要強調一次咧，其實我哋唔係話最重要嘅嘢係唔係話純粹係整合，而係咧如何能夠令到成個巴士網絡可以演化咧，令到成個網絡咧係能夠符合到現時乘客嘅需要嘅。咁我哋會喺呢方面繼續同政府部門啦，以及相關嘅區議會或者持份者緊密合作咧，去討論呢一啲巴士重組嘅路線重組啦，同埋發展嘅事宜嘅。咁Cliff會講少少嘢嘅。
我諗我簡單回應翻啦，因為我見到都好幾位傳媒嘅朋友都有提到，即係話我哋嘅財政嘅狀況啦，即係呢個轉虧為盈。咁我都想同大家講咧，就係話其實今次呢個合併啦，對於呢個轉虧為盈嚟嘅轉虧為盈或者令到提升我哋嘅財務嘅狀況咧，係絕對係有幫助嘅。但係我諗要真係令到我哋巴士公司真係話轉虧為盈，可以翻去即係話疫情之前嘅盈利嘅水平咧，我諗其實係有好多嘅因素。咁呢個唔係同我哋今次嘅呢個合併咧，係有一個即係大家都關心，即係話究竟係幾多啊？咁其實坦白講答唔到你嘅。即係疫情究竟幾時我哋先至會通關？咁我哋嘅 乘客量，我哋嘅收入先至可以係恢復到疫情之前啦。包括亦都係大家亦都睇到，即係話全球而家有通脹啦，係咪油價升咗啦？所以其實即係話轉虧為盈呢樣嘢，其實係有好多唔同嘅因素嘅。咁今次嘅合併，即係我覺得最重要嘅一樣嘢係可以令到我哋係提供一個更加有效率嘅服務，喺我哋喺營運上高咧，係能夠有更加多嘅靈活性去安排我哋嘅車隊啦，亦都俾咗我哋一個去重整路線嘅一個機會。咁呢啲嘢絕對係有幫助嘅。我哋亦都好感謝，即係話政府係批准今次嘅呢一個合併。咁但係我亦都希望大家明白，即係話唔係話今次合併做完咗個巴士 business 就可以即刻係即係轉虧為盈咁啊賺翻錢。即係其實影響嘅因素係非常非常之多嘅。
好，我哋最後2條問題啦。Last 2 questions。黑色衫呢位。
你好，香港01嘅，想問下，其實咧就現時嚟講咧，新巴同城巴係有幾多條路線可能係重疊而需要去整合啦？咁其實會唔會有機會係城巴，因為佢哋城巴新巴有票價差啦，會唔會變相城巴其實有機會要加價嘅咧？第二想問下，其實都提到話要做一個新嘅路線啊，提供更加即係有效率嘅即係巴士網絡俾市民啦。咁想請教下，其實之前咧即係要搞新路線咁樣，之前其實咧都曾經即係棄過標嘅，因為都知道新巴同城巴就關於天水圍同埋元朗個路線啦。咁其實係點樣去解釋啦？同埋合併之後會唔會有資源或者有能力去入翻標做翻呢一條線，或者以後會唔會仲會有棄標嘅情況咧？唔該晒。
Yeah, so in terms of how many routes are duplicated, it's an interesting question, and actually not many routes are duplicated on an end-to-end basis, but some sections of routes are duplicated. So as we said earlier, it's about taking a long-term and a holistic approach to looking at these. So for example, if you had 2 routes running in parallel that operated at a frequency of 20 minutes with separate service numbers, it could potentially be a logical conclusion to say you merge those and get a frequency of 10 minutes on one service. And that actually improves the offering to the end user. So it's that type of consolidation and that type of improvement and review that we intend to take. On the matter of the fares, we've already dealt with that. We've stated our position very, very clear. It's a separate matter that needs separate discussion in terms of what we stated. And on the Tin Shui Wai and Yuen Long OSE, the question is very, very simple. When we submitted the bid pre the 5th wave of COVID, we had, as you would expected, made business projections on both revenue and patronage. And obviously, all public transport businesses saw a downturn in revenue and patronage during that period. So as a result of that, that changed our business modelling. And with any new bus route, you always see a period from day one of operation to a point in the future where it's loss-making. That's the nature of starting new bus routes. And actually, in many other countries around the world, there's often subsidy applied to new bus routes to kickstart them, and support the operating costs in the early years. But that modelling changed our projections. So as a result, we took the business decision that it was the better thing not to carry forward with that OSE at that point in time.
係啦，咁就住條路線重疊方面，其實你話完全一樣嘅路線咧，其實就數量唔多啦。咁但係主要係一啲可能去某啲路段咧，其實係重複比較多嘅路線咧係有嘅。咁但係你話我哋其實個整合咧係講緊係如何能夠令到呢一啲路線喺整合後咧可以有一個更加頻密嘅班次去服務市民，呢個先係一個最重要嘅考慮啦。咁另外頭先講到票價方面咧，其實都啱都講過啦。其實票價咧係另一個事宜啦。咁但係我哋喺收費表上的確係會有一定嘅相應嘅調節啦。咁但係就唔係一個呢一刻我哋會討論嘅事宜啦。咁但係另外第3個問題就係天水圍去到元朗嘅新嘅招標路線咧，其實因為我哋喺提交呢一個標書嘅時候咧，其實係喺第5波疫情之前嘅。咁第5波疫情發生咧，其實對於我哋整個商業模式或者我哋嗰個模組去計算呢條路線嘅一個盈利能力咧，其實係好大嘅分別嘅。 咁因為呢個疫情嘅關係咧，令到嗰個乘客量會有所不同啦，令我成個商業嘅模式咧係會有轉變。咁喺無奈之下咧，我哋係因為嗰個路線係會一定嘅虧損咧，而被逼咧係放棄認投呢條路線嘅。
It's just useful to add and apply some additional context around that. So if you look at a number of OSCs that were awarded to franchise bus operators across Hong Kong over the last few months, new public housing developments in the new territories, a lot of those have been slowed or suspended based on the occupancy and the key handing over ceremonies of the new housing. So it's the same scenario. When you look at some of our routes in Toon Moon, in Queen's Hill, other franchise bus operators had that same situation. So, it's COVID driven, and as we come out of COVID, we see the opportunity and the growth coming back.
係啦，咁其實主要係都係講翻喺疫情之後咧，其實整個公共交通整個公共交通業咧都見到嘅乘客量嘅一啲回升啦。咁所以係同其他嘅公共交通工具營辦商一樣咧，我哋都見到咧，其實係喺嚟緊整個市場咧係有一定嘅發展嘅潛力嘅。咁我哋都會因為咁咧而去繼續去競投新嘅路線啦。最後一條問題係啦，左手邊呢位白色衫後邊。
係你好，明報嘅。首先咧就想問下，其實頭先講過話會整合啲路線啦，同埋整合嗰個車費嘅等級表啦。其實可唔可以講下最終會有最終嘅決定？呢度 testing 幾時會知道整合完嗰個路線會係點咧？個車費最終嗰個收費會係點咧？同埋通過其實會通過咗呢個嘅車費嗰個等級表咧？會唔會都話即係會申請加價？可唔可以都承諾會唔會好似唔減人手咁樣2年之後都唔會加價呢？第二就係想問翻員工嘅問題。想問下而家新巴同城巴其實啲員工會唔會其實某啲等級都可能個工資上會有落差啦？咁而就提話佢哋嘅待遇條件喺合併之後咧，唔會俾現入差。咁即係其實會唔會都統一翻個水平咧？係以較高者同低者為準咧？咁同埋都想問下就係有員工咧都反映。同埋都想問下咧，有啲員工都反映其實新巴同城巴嘅時薪咧，其實佢就可能唔係計，即係冇計到每班車之間啲休息時間嘅。咁其實合併之後會唔會都喺薪酬福利嘅計算方法上都會有啲改善咧？咁同埋最尾都想追問翻頭先講過話，整合完個路線之後，最重要都希望可以提供到更加頻密嘅班次去服務市民啦。咁有冇個目標就係新巴、城巴以後城巴以後嘅嗰啲巴士嗰個加密嗰個程度會去到幾多咧？唔該。
咁我諗頭先關於路線整合上啦，同埋喺收費上，我哋都唔會回應㗎啦，因為都已經答咗好多次啦。咁就住呢個勞工條件方面，我可以請Richard再答答。
Yep. So in terms of frontline staff, we've actually got numerous different contractual arrangements for our staff. So we're a legacy business. We have legacy operations and legacy contract arrangements. So we brought people many years ago from the China motor bus business into the New World business. We've got a number of different contract types and contract terms. And as we have already committed and we have communicated to our staff unions, we don't intend to change any of those contract terms upon this merger. That's a very clear message. They're working under those existing terms and conditions, and we will not vary those contractual terms upon the commencement of the merger.
咁雖然我哋其實喺新巴、城巴有好多唔同類型嘅勞工嘅條款啦，咁但係喺合併之後咧，我哋並唔會因為咁咧而改變佢哋嘅待遇同埋條款嘅，係啦，呢個係我哋嘅承諾啦。
In terms of bus captain salary schemes, we're always looking at different schemes, and I think any operator, any employer is always looking at different recruitment schemes. And as we said earlier, the market is changing. The demographic of housing is changing in Hong Kong. there's more and more young people moving out to the new territories. We need to adjust our business, and that's why earlier Adam spoke about developing new sites in the new territories to support our business expansion. That also supports our staff that live in those areas, that reduces their commutes and offers them more flexible employment opportunities. We're very, very proud of some of the things we've done during COVID. Our close collaboration with the trade union, our close collaboration with the JCC that has supported the business coming through this fifth wave. And that's about having adaptable and flexible employment conditions that suit not only the business but also the employee.
係啦，咁其實同一般嘅商業機構都一樣咧，我哋係不斷咁去檢視自己嗰個招聘嘅條款啦，同埋員工嘅待遇嘅。咁呢個係一定繼續會做啦。咁同一時間咧，其實頭先阿 Adam 都講過咧，我哋將會喺九龍或者新界一啲地方咧，去揾一啲地方去興建新嘅車廠啦。咁希望透過呢一啲更加方便嘅工作地方咧，能夠令到可以方便到我哋唔同嘅同事或者新嘅有興趣可以加入我哋公司嘅一啲年青人咧，可以投身我哋公司係工作嘅。咁呢方面會繼續做嘅。好，咁我哋多謝晒咁多位，我哋先請我哋嘅管理層離開，話 May we now invite our management team to please leave the hall。多謝晒大家。